What's up, everybody? It is the Tony Hope, your six-time NFC Muay Thai champion, your champ, a future UFC world champion, and the future of sports media. And I am very excited to present to y'all a brand new series that I'm starting. I will be breaking down my fight from last Friday, September 19th, live at the Battery at NFC 180. This is something new that I'll be doing. I won't just be doing fights of myself. I'll be doing uh, UFC events, Pride events, Strike Force, Bellator, PFL, anything imaginable, both new, current, and old, just so I can show y'all that not only am I extremely good at what I do in the cage and in the ring, but I'm extremely good at analyzing and breaking down the fight from an analysis and sports mind perspective. So, without any further ado, I'm excited to go ahead and get into this video with y'all. It's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. This is my first time watching this fight back since it happened. So everything that I will be reacting and analyzing, this is off the dome. This is as I'm watching it. So come along the ride with me. So first things first, you can see that there is a massive height discrepancy. He is listed as 5'4", and I'm listed as 6'3". I don't want people to think that just because there is a massive discrepancy, whether it's in reach or height or experience, that those are telltale signs that one person is going to win over the other. It's never like that. Upsets are a thing. I don't even like to think of it as upsets or not, because as a fighter, that just puts more pressure on myself. But as a spectator, I understand that people bet. I understand that people have favorites. I understand that people root for underdogs. So just in general, if, whenever you see a big discrepancy in something, it is not indicative of how that fighter is going to perform. Yeah, I was extremely taller than him, but he had something that was able to neutralize me. I had stuff that was able to do damage and possibly neutralize him. It was a great push-pull. As I said, I fought last Friday. I didn't get the win, unfortunately, but I lost a close split decision, and it wasn't really a loss as in I just got dominated and I didn't go in the fight with anything to show or it looked as if I wasn't training. It was more so a close, hard fight that I learned so much from. When I tell you I got so much experience from that fight, just like I got a lot of experience from my first MMA fight, which was in July. So having a quick turnaround, having a last-minute replacement in Remy Foster, who stepped in because my original opponent suffered an injury like 2 or 3 days before the fight. I appreciate him for doing so. And it was something that when fight night approached, I went in there with the goal to showcase new skills. I learned so much over the past, all of 2025, really, since I fought in January. That was my last Muay Thai title defense at 145. And then I immediately said I want to begin training, dedicating myself to MMA, going to jiu-jitsu classes, learning more of the nuances on the ground, grappling exchanges, being able to feel that pressure in these close engagements against the cage and such. I wanted to, enter that realm because that's what I want to do as a professional. But in this fight, I said I want to go in there and just try out so many new things. I learned so many submissions, sweeps from the bottom, and not just striking because, my track record in striking speaks for itself. I wanted to go in here and show that I'm also versatile in other areas. And you will see that in this fight. Here we go. You know what I'm saying? My signature walkout. John Cena, the time is now. You know what I'm saying? Always live in that moment. Every time I fight, I just get more and more comfortable. I don't even get nervous no more, really. I just get excited, you know what I'm saying? I train too hard to get nervous. In the crop top, looking too good. I felt really good going into this fight. My weight cut wasn't that bad. My physique looked good. I still felt strong. I was hydrated, had some good food in me. All right, here we go. Round one, y'all. This is a new ref, too. First time ever fighting with this referee. He was pretty good, though. Look at how small that cage is, though. This is what I was talking about. Look at how small the cage is. Let's pause that right there. So I knew in that fight I landed a few really, really good head kicks. And as you can see, there was one right there. Um, I just landed super clean. Need I say, my original opponent, it was meant to be an advanced amateur fight, which is it kind of threw me off when he pulled out, and then this guy stepped in with zero experience. We couldn't just jump right into advanced amateur. For those who don't know, advanced amateur MMA, there's no shin guards, and there's now the inclusion of ground and pound to the face. So if I get you on the ground, I'm able to punch at your body and your face. In amateur, you must wear shin guards, and you can't punch to the face. But let's look at that head kick right there. So he did a good job kind of pummeling in with the overhand. As a shorter fighter, going against a taller fighter, that's kind of what you need to do to be able to close the distance. But I was still behind my jab right there. And we were in a closed stance. I noticed that he would switch stances with me. Right here, I'm in southpaw. He's also in southpaw. Boom. I just threw up a head kick. This is something that I do in training routinely. Threw up a head kick, landed flush, landed clean. I don't know if it's the shin guards or if he was just fresh or what the case may be, but he ate that and it kind of put him automatically in a position to take me down, as you can see right here. I got him in a clinch, though, threw a nice knee. That cage right there, though, allowed him to close that distance. I'm doing a good job sprawling, but I couldn't keep my feet beneath me. I was able to keep that wizard and roll on top. But this was one thing that I noticed that was super frustrating in this fight. The one thing I noticed that I was very frustrated with was that when I was able to use different sweeps and leverage to get from bottom onto top, or to get from a sprawl position or a takedown defense while we're standing and land on top. He was so small that I couldn't really get my feet beneath him. I couldn't get my legs around him, and it was just like trying to wrestle a cat almost. Like it was just he was just squirming and being able to maneuver out of these different positions. And as you can see right here, early into the first round, I'm already on my back. We're in half guard right now, kind of a modified half guard. It's not really closed. I'm closing it up right now. So right here, I'm trying to create the space needed to swim my arm underneath his chin, get my other arm around his shoulder, clamp it, and then use my legs to kind of lift up his leg and kind of tilt him over. So the position would be like this. This forearm right here, it would be under his chin. This one would be over his shoulder, and I will kind of use this all as in one motion to send him over. And that would be me getting from off my back onto top. I was trying to, but he was doing a great, great, great job at smothering me, using his head very well, great head pressure. I couldn't create that space. As you can see, look, I'm using my hand trying to push up on his face. The commentator is right, too. I should have been shrimping a little bit more. I was a little bit too complacent on the ground. I was trying to force for that one move because I had been training that so consistently. And then right there, I started trying to, right here, I don't know if you can see, kind of in this area, I began to isolate a wrist. I was trying to isolate an arm so I could get into something else that I had been working all fight camp, which was my Kimura. You'll see that later on in the fight, but here early on in the fight, I was trying to get to it. And again, it's like trying to go for a submission so early against someone who was pretty composed and maintaining good pressure. It wasn't the smartest thing for me to do in the moment. I should have been trying to create a knee shield with this bottom leg to create some space, pushing away from him, creating more frames rather than laying on my back and trying to go for a submission that just wasn't there in the moment.
Again, no strikes in the face of a grounded opponent.
Right here, he's just racking up, I guess, points via punching me to the body. Didn't really hurt per se. As you can see, I'm very composed here, just working.
He's looking for wrist control behind the back, which is interesting. But it's not helping the problem of having his back on the mat. He's got to get his hips out. He's got to get his back off of the mat.
There we go. That was a great sweep. Great sweep by me. Let's rewind that real quick. So right here, you see I'm beginning to open up my guard. Gonna open up my guard right here. I'm grabbing on the opposite side of his face, or grabbing on his face with this arm right here. I stamped down with this leg, and I knew that as long as I'm pushing on this, I'm blocking this arm right here. All of these things are crucial when you're on the bottom if you want to get back on top. You have to understand what's keeping you there. Early on in that ground exchange, I was keeping myself there. I was trying to look for submissions, looking for a specific sweep, when I could have been going to this a little bit quicker. But as you can see, right here, I had this pushed on his bicep. I had his other arm blocked. He didn't have a post on this side, so he couldn't keep himself up, and his leg is in the air. So I just exploded up, pushed him with all of my might over, and I was temporarily on top. Now, right here, again, this is what I meant by he was just so small and he was kind of able to wiggle himself out of some precarious positions. I should have just sat down on him immediately. So as you can see here, I'm not really sitting down heavy on him. I'm trying to push him down with my face to get him on flat on his back. But you see how he was just able to squirm and just explode. It was so hard to control him on the ground. He kind of pushed me off, gets into he just starts grabbing my leg, which he eventually transitions into a single. I grabbed the fence right there, honestly, can't lie. Right here, I was trying to look to go for, yeah, I was going for a guillotine or a ninja choke in this position. I should have just gotten up. Honestly, I should have just gotten up.
Looking for a modified darts. I was waiting for you to call it. Not the right angle. He's got long arms, but
I was, switching from a bunch of different submissions that I learned. And then right here, I'm just trying to get up before he climbed back over. But I'm not panicking, as you can see. That's one thing I learned just via fighting and going through all these jiu-jitsu rounds during camp. There's no reason to panic when you're on the ground. Take your time, see what he gives you. 30 seconds left.
weathered the early barrage, found himself on top. Not much damage, but all the control time. First round in the books and a very rare.
So, yeah, I lost that round very firmly. And it wasn't even, I lost that round. It wasn't even via damage or I just got outstruck or just straight up dominated. He just smothered me for most of the round, even though I had a good sweep. I was the one who pretty much got him on the ground in the first place. I just couldn't maintain top position. And then when I did reverse sweep him and landed on top and full mount, he was able to kind of wiggle his way from underneath and get into a scramble position. We had some really good scrambles this match. So again, all of this stuff is stuff that I appreciate experiencing in my second MMA fight ever. Please mind that. Here we go. I take the center. Got to keep a wider base, throwing some feints. I'm seeing him close the distance a lot. Throw another head kick. He landed a decent overhand. Didn't really affect me, but he got there. Here I go, putting a lot of pressure on him again with that wizard. Had to get my leg out. It was stuck in there. But I'm framing against his head. I'm keeping that wizard tight because that is what's preventing him from, re-grabbing down low. There you go. I'm trying to crank that wizard. I got his wrist right there. Now I got to just maintain top control. He's just he was just glued to me.
No repercussions though, because you can't punch to the head. So
And he's absolutely right. I was training ground and pound to the face in this fight,
Tony hopes.
but again, the rule changed at the last second. I can't right here.
Also no elbows. They can't
Right here, I would have just began absolutely hammer fisting his face as he's just laying on me, and I did do that later on in the fight while we were standing, but there is no excuse right here. This leg is keeping me stuck there, and then this leg is underneath me. I'm just kind of on my butt right now. I need to get to a base, build up to a base. I lost the wizard. I need to get up to a base.
no headbutts. Hopefully Remy remembers that.
All right, here I go.
Using that to get up.
Got me a good wizard. I had to clear him though.
Push off now.
This is what I wanted to get,
Yeah, he's really torquing it, man.
and I'm trying to just rip his shoulder off.
Looks like he's got
And at this point, I'm like, okay, look, I'm about to go down to the ground with it, and I'm just gonna rip this man's shoulder in pieces.
Start bottom
But he extended his arm right here. He extended his arm right here. This was a 95% submission. I got the right grip. I got his arm isolated. One thing, though, that I didn't notice in the moment, but now I do looking back on it. You see the position that we're in? I needed to be on the opposite side of his body. This is the wrist that I always go for. This is the arm that I always go for in training when I would go for the Kimura. But just in the moment, I wasn't necessarily aware of what was happening. I should have began working my way to the opposite side of his body right here and began collapsing his forearm. I need to have his arm bent to complete the move the way it was meant to be completed. And it's a fight. It's not easy. That's his way of defense, is to straighten his arm out. But I should have, and I'm right here. I'm still just torquing it hard because I'm over here thinking in my head in the moment. I still remember this. In the moment, I said, oh, this man's shoulders and his pec is just going to be ripped up if he doesn't tap. I don't care because, I'm trying to win the fight. And I thought I was going to be able to get it. But even right here, I could have swept him, could have got this leg from underneath him and kind of swept him over. I could have began working my way to the opposite side. There's a lot of stuff that I could have done that I didn't do in this moment.
Not the cleanest, but that's still a lot of shoulder strain. Yeah, that works.
I didn't want to give up on it because I felt like I had something. But then I tried to go for ninja choke or a guillotine. Began swimming my arm in because I really wanted the ninja choke. But right here, balance is so important. I should have kept moving my hips, and there you go. I'm back on bottom.
He had the perfect position there. Scoot his hips out to the side.
And this just comes from a lack of experience, honestly.
This position a lot. Going over the back. Trying to get wrist control on the opposite side. Doesn't really allow a lot of opportunities, but 30 seconds here for Tony Hope.
I just didn't want to end this round on bottom. I began shrimping out, got that knee in.
Great composure here from Remy Foster.
And then right here,
Outside of some brief danger from that Kimura grip.
began to side control. But I go for a sweep that I've been training as well. Wasn't the cleanest, but I was able to reverse control. I had control of his neck and head right there. I will say that second round, I feel like I could have gotten it to go my way. One of the judges thought so. Could have gotten it to go my way. I personally felt like I had more control in that round with the Kimura grip. Like, that was a serious submission threat. But optics mean a lot in fighting. And I ended that fight on my back, or I ended that round on my back. I spent some time on my back. More urgency. That's one thing I'll say going into my next one. I need to have more urgency to get off my back because as an amateur, we only got 3 minutes per round. So there's not really too much time to play on bottom unless I'm being extremely aggressive in submission threats, which I was in that second round. But, excuse me, this is also going back to that first round again, where I could have been a little bit more urgent in getting up rather than hunting for submissions that just weren't presenting themselves yet. Fast forward a little bit to the end of this round. Again, I wasn't discouraged or anything. I got plenty of energy. Heart rate was low. Breathing was well. Beginning of the third round. Watch this. Boom. Came out with a flying knee. I wish I could go to the head, but I can't just yet. My knees were the best thing I was landing because that's all I really could land. He didn't give me no chance to use my arms as weapons.
Maybe he was trying to tie him up, do some clinch wrestling, but the problem is when you can grab a waist lock or shoot down for a single.
That's where I started hammering to his face, trying to discourage him to keep going for that leg. I felt comfortable here again. Great balance. I go through this during training all the time. So I just start throwing some knees up the middle, making him uncomfortable. I know he didn't like those. Good sprawl right there. I should have committed a little bit more, but he was able to slide up. Right here, he's trying to pick me up and slam me.
It can be very tough when you've got someone with legs that long on that high crotch.
Tony's got to push that head down. Push the back of the head. Push it down.
He's right.
Lazy post there. That's allowing Remy to really get his hips in.
Yeah, head down. Blade off a little bit. Standing like that, be able to scoop your feet up.
Again, good balance. Had his head on the outside. I just knew I had to keep stuffing it. Right here. I saw his arm was isolated. I was trying to step over and kind of maybe go for an arm bar of some sort. Ooh. Whoops.
Especially at some of these scrambles that the triangles and omoplatas from Tony Hope are going to be just nasty.
Right there, I was able to reverse position. I said oops because I accidentally punched him to the face. I wasn't meant to do that. I even apologized in the mid-match.
Just over a minute left here to make something happen.
Again, I felt good with my wizard. I'm very, very confident that my wizard can get me out of any position, standing or on the ground. That's why I wanted to really keep it. I just got to work on ways I can take advantage of that moving forward. Right here, I would also be punching to his face. But nice knee.
Everything. He's too experienced for me for this normal amateur skill set.
I'm sure if he had petitioned, he probably could have gotten advanced amateur.
Yeah. Maybe it was hard to find opponents. I don't know.
We break away. Threw a nice teep up the middle. Right at his face. That landed clean. Right here, we get a bit of a striking exchange finally. Go for a nice knee. You see how he doesn't like that? He puts his arm down. I want y'all to take a notice of these little details. So when you're watching fights, you can know. One thing I'll always say is that you don't need to look at someone's face to know that what you're doing is effective and working. I have fought plenty times to know that there's ways to defend a knee properly. And as we get to right here, there's about 10 seconds left in the round. I'm just like, whatever, we're going to have fun, land something clean. Boom. He puts this arm down. That is not a knee defense. That is not how you defend knees. I have knocked people out in Muay Thai from the same exact position, knee into the body. They drop their hands. I throw an elbow up top, end of the fight. Again, rule set's different, rule changes and whatnot. But this is how I say, if you're a fighter, you don't need to see someone's face to understand that they don't know or they don't like what is happening to them. If I had just a little bit more time, I would have began throwing these knees a little bit more heavy, but I finished the fight the same way I started throwing knees. You know, finish that fight, hands up high. I'm not tired. I'm not frustrated. I knew the fight was going to be close, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm just glad that I was able to experience that level of pressure from a fighter that, you know, I might not be seeing him again personally, but I'm going to be seeing that same type of archetype. Small, compact, strong, looking to wrestle. He didn't even go for any submissions, really. He didn't really go for anything that was of significant danger on the ground. It was just pressure, control time, ground time. It's what it is. It even happens in the pros as well. You look at guys like Marab who will just take you down 40 times in a fight off of 70 attempts. You know, this is just what it is, especially going against those who are great strikers or who have a particular skill set on the feet. Here we go. We can fast forward to the decision.
Judge John Morigliano. Your first judge, Jack May, sees it with scores of 29-28 for Foster. Your second judge, John
Always,
Morigliano,
the way you end a fight is just as important the way as you begin it. Always keep your head up high. Always give off the impression that you won, even if you know it's close or you're not sure if you won or not.
29-28, your winner by split decision. Out of the blue corner.
So again, I knew it could go either way. I'm not disappointed. He fought a good fight. Oh, those are my those are my recommendations. Um, he fought a great fight, great game plan, short notice. He just wanted to fight, and while we didn't do too much fighting on the feet, I definitely gave him some trouble. That second round, I was particularly happy with because I got into a submission attempt that was this close to landing or this close to finishing. Just if I just change just two things, collapse that arm in and collapse that arm in. This is my grabbing hand. Grab the wrist, take this hand, put it on top, collapse it in rather than having it straight out because that's where it was. Collapse that arm in and just torque it back like how I was, and then also get onto the opposite side of his body. I was just in the wrong position there. I didn't notice it in the moment, and I didn't notice it afterwards. Like I said, this was my first time rewatching the fight back, and as soon as I looked back on it, I saw exactly where the problem lied. So not too disappointed in my performance. Like I said, this was one of those losses where you take a lot away from it and you really come out stronger and more confident going into your next fight because like I felt how it is now to just get laid on. You know, you can feel it in practice, but unless you're doing jiu-jitsu competitions or wrestling competitions or straight up fighting, you won't know how it feels until you experience it. So being able to experience that now, see how it is to have somebody just lay on top of me, not going for too many damaging strikes or going for too many submission attempts. I now know that in situations like that, the fight really is up in my hands. You know, and that's probably the toughest lesson that I took away from it in that first round. If I just would have been a little bit more intentional and urgent in getting up off the ground rather than staying there looking for submissions that again just weren't presenting themselves, this fight would have gone my way. Because that third round was obviously in my favor. The second round was close. You could go either way. But that first round was 100% in his favor. So in a 3-round fight, even as a professional, if you lose that first round and it's clear, those last two, it has to be, you have to show something different. In that second round, like I said, it was close. It was up in the air. You could say, I personally think I won that second round. The third round, I knew I won, but being on my back a little too long in that first round, I believe caused me to lose. But that comes from a lack of experience on the mats. Like, I've been training jujitsu, don't get me wrong, and I hope I showed that there. I got a lot of great trips, a lot of good sweeps, some good control with my wizard, some great balance on the feet, and then being able to just get out of bad positions. Now I just need to work more on getting those reps of submission attempts in high stress situations, such as jujitsu comp. So going forward, for the next month, the whole month of October, it's just jujitsu and jujitsu competitions, because I want to get back in there in November, and I refuse to have another fight go the same way as this one, where it could have been or it's too close to call, or I just got laid on, or I just got dominated on the ground, or anything like that. I can't let that happen anymore. But we're amateurs, and this goes out to any amateur out there who is serious about this. If you're serious about becoming a professional, if you want to be a world champ, if you really want to level up as a martial artist, don't look at your record as an amateur as wins versus losses, and I just can't stop winning, or I just can't stop losing. I don't get it, and it's just discouraging and all that. Look, this is a few days after the fight. Today's Monday, and when I'm recording this, there's no cuts, there's no bruises, there's no scratches. I have no broken bones. I have no bruises on my body or on my legs. I walked in there healthy, and I walked out healthy. I'm going to the gym literally right after this recording. So that is what's more important. Train in order to protect yourself, no matter if you win or you lose. We don't need to be taking no type of ridiculous damage as no amateur, and even as professionals. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I like having my face looking good. I like it. I need to be able to go show up on camera for y'all, go to work, get these modeling opportunities and all this other stuff. I don't got time to be having bruises on my face. So, think more about that rather than your wins and losses. And then also think about how you can improve no matter if you win or if you lose. One of the most frustrating times I had was after a win. I was disappointed in my performance after a win, which was in January of this year, my last Muay Thai title defense. And after that, I just pledged that I would not fight the way I fought in that fight again, because I just wasn't proud of that performance. Or rather, I know I could have done much better. I had a good performance, but I knew I could have done extremely better, to where I could have gotten the knockout that I was looking for. So when you go into these fights, take it from someone who has, almost 15 fights worth of experience now. You should be looking to try new things. In this fight, I was able to try new things. Some were successful, some were failures. But no matter what, now going into my next competition, going to my next fight, I now have a memory of that. And I now know what I can tweak to make that memory stronger, or what I can add to my memory bank in order to get out of certain positions or maintain certain positions that I was in during this fight. So I guess that's just kind of my way to end this episode of Tone Breaks Down. Like I said, I really want to continue doing a lot of these. Maybe I'll do a UFC fight next. Maybe I'll do one of my teammates' fights. I'm not sure. But nothing disappointing from this fight. Nothing to be down about. Losses are just what they are. Or losses are what you make them, rather. Let's say that. Losses are literally what you make them. Losses can get you down and out and make you not want to do this anymore. You can quit. Or you can take that loss and do exactly what I said. Learn from it. Same thing with wins. Wins don't matter unless you're learning something from it, because at the end of the day, all of that stuff is fleeting. You're going to want to win again. And if you're putting all of your value in wins, then you have to look and reflect within yourself, what does that make me if I don't win? That's how I'm going to end this episode. But hey, I appreciate y'all watching. Give me any feedback in the comments. DM me at the Tony Hope. Let me know what you think. I will be back with another episode very soon.